I'd like to call the town board meeting of the town of Lake Mills to order December 13th, 2016 at 8 p.m. or 8:05 p.m. at the town hall. The notice was posted in the town at the town hall, the North End Boat Launch, the cul-de-sac on Finch Brothers Road, and also on the town's website. Item 2 on the agenda is the adoption of the agenda. I will motion to adopt the agenda as printed.
I will second.
Is there any discussion on the agenda? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the agenda for this meeting, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and all opposed, the same sign. Perhaps I should say before we get started, we have 2 ill board members tonight. Sharon, our treasurer, is not here, and neither is Dave, our supervisor. So we're going to have kind of a short, quick, down and dirty meeting. Lee and I are going to dominate the motions. By law, though, we do have a quorum with 2 of our supervisors present. Item 3, approval of the minutes of the November meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the November 15th, 2016 meeting.
We need to do them separately since
Is
there's,
that public hearing?
Yes, let's do them separately.
So is it 3 separate or just the 2?
I think it's just 2, right? The special
Well,
meeting?
special meeting electors
Yeah.
and monthly board meeting, okay.
Yes.
All right. So yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the special meeting electors that took place on November 15th, 2016.
And I will second that.
And I will also make a motion to approve the monthly board meeting on November 15th of 2016. The minutes of that meeting.
And I will second that. Is there any discussion on either of these 2 meetings? The special meeting and the public hearing on November 15th at 7:30 and the regular town board meeting on November 15th at 8 p.m. Hearing no discussion, a call for approval of the minutes. Please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and all opposed, the same sign. The minutes are approved. Approval of the treasurer's report. This is where I thought Santa
Yeah.
Claus had come to town.
well, I think what happened is she mixed the numbers around. So
Yeah.
the 152,303 is actually the general fund balance.
Yes.
And then everything else gets shifted down 1.
Yes, you're right. So there is an error in the treasurer's report.
This should be, the police car is 16.5, is that what we're saying? Or no?
If you look at November,
Yeah, here's November.
the police car reserve is, it's actually 20, not 2.
Yeah,
But then 2 is the
Here's
occupancy
November.
bond. Occupancy bond is correct. And the general fund should be 152,303.81.
okay.
The capital outlay is 16.5, the Rock Lake account 175,613.94, that's right. Occupants bond 2,000, and the police car is missing, it's 20,000.
So we had $20,000 reserved for police.
Now, the only
And-
problem with that is that that still doesn't make it balance.
Oh.
We're off 10 grand. So I think we still have to probably put this off and let Sharon get,
Tinker with it.
yeah, she's in a lot of pain, so I think you should give her a
All
pass
right.
this time.
So let's do this. Let's table the approval of the treasurer's report for December.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I will motion to do that. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right. I think we've had quite a bit of discussion. All in favor of the tabling, please say aye.
Aye.
And all opposed, same sign. Okay, now we can go on to general funding vouching. I've got way too much paper in
You
front
can
of me.
give him that one. I found it. I can put it in.
Are there any questions before we begin discussing or motioning?
Is this the Horton Group, that's annual?
That is the workman's comp adjustment,
Okay,
which I kind of put off until after the election so I could dig into it further, because we've had that happen in the past, and then when I've gone back and looked at it, there was an error or there was something wasn't quite right. This time, however, our wages are up quite a bit, mostly boat patrol. We had 4 elections this year. So I think it's right. Workman's comp is just a calculation. It's not a premium that's different from
sure.
one company to the other. So I think they actually have it right this time.
Okay.
The other thing to note on here is the large number of people who served as election inspectors or election workers. And I want to thank each and every one of them for all the time that they put in. They are not very well compensated for that, but it does make a safe, secure, and fair democratic election. And I think we've proven that in the last few weeks.
Yep.
So thank you to all those poll workers and especially to you, Sarah, for commanding them. I would make a motion to approve the general funding vouching for December at $38,177.02.
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the approval of the general funding vouchers, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and all opposed, the same sign. Vouching is carried. Item 6 on our agenda are the reports, and tonight we have Officer Madden here to give the police report. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely. For the month of November, according to Chief Miller's report, there are a total of 15 hours of patrol time, 2 hours of radar time. No crashes were investigated. There was 1 new complaint investigated, 1 previous complaint that was followed up upon. 3 citations were issued, and 1 warning or repair notice was issued. There's also a total of 10 administrative hours used by the police department. Chief Miller left a note on here as well. He'd like to thank the town board for the new office computer and squad camera. Our state reporting system is now up to date and state compliant. He'd also like to note that there are currently 4 officers, Officer Tabitha Felder, Officer Ben Preston, myself, and Officer Andrew Schmidt, that have accepted full-time positions either in the private sector or with other departments and will no longer be able to participate with our department here in the township. Due to that staff shortage, Chief Miller will be advertising on the state hiring site and aggressively looking for officers to cover the 2017 boating and patrol hours. Any pressing questions, Chief Miller is available by phone during the training that he's gone for today.
Thank you, sir. I was just telling him in the office that we are kind of a mentoring area for new police officers. So I appreciate the time that Matt puts in hiring and training these guys. It's sad that we have 4 leaving at the same time, but at the same time, it's great for you guys. I appreciate all the help you've given us in the past and wish you the best of luck. So thanks. Any other questions for the police department? Looking forward to another snowfall this weekend. Item B, the Joint Rock Lake Committee report. I met with those guys. They asked that we put this Rock Lake Fall Electrofishing Summary Report on our website.
Do you have that in electronic format by chance?
Maybe Patricia does.
All right.
Or maybe it could come from the DNR directly.
Okay.
At any rate, they do that electrofishing every fall, and there had been some questions about the size and the catch and the number of fish that were being retained. And it's always interesting to look at the details, and I know there are a lot of fishermen that are interested in that. So that we can probably put on the website in the next couple of weeks.
I could also add that we have been approved for our Clean Boats, Clean Waters grant for 2017.
Great.
So we will be participating in that.
All right. Now we just need to find a couple more competent people, and
Yeah.
that is something that we will be advertising the first part of the year too, is to look for some more watercraft inspectors to work with us on that Clean Boats, Clean Waters. And if you are interested in that position, you could certainly look that up on the town's website and contact the clerk or myself. Item C, Planning Commission report.
Yeah, we did not meet on December 6th, so.
All right.
Report.
We
No
should say that
business.
Yeah, exactly.
No business to come before us, and no other committee reports, I assume, this evening.
I know
Items.
that the Cambridge Fire Commission is meeting, I think, this week. So I should have a report for that next week then, or next month, I mean.
I got a notice, but I didn't notice what
I
day.
think it's either tomorrow or Thursday.
All right. Anything else? Item 7, a period of public comment and questions for anything that is not upon our agenda this evening for discussion only. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to bring forward a point
Okay.
To the podium.
Good evening, sir.
Hello. Do you need to know anything about me first?
Yeah, tell us who you are and what you'd like to talk about.
Okay, name's John, last name's Pure. Live over in Sherwood Hills. Had just some miscellaneous questions. I moved in April. One of them, a couple of them came up after listening to. I'll just go in sundry order. Is there a possibility of having a regional police force? Where my wife came from in Canada, a lot of the municipalities would pull together and outside of like the Toronto area, and they would have a regional police force. So that would just be one question. I've been reading in the news about the rural internet capabilities, or there's a drive to get rural internet. I was talking to my colleagues where I work in Madison, and they're telling me like TDS, you can get 1 gigabit per second throughput, and I'm kind of crawling along with Charter, so looking to see if we can get some competition or somewhere or other get some higher speed internet. Then I was at the Rock Lake Homeowners Association meeting and talking about the new developments and out in the Sherwood Hills area. And I was thinking back, about 3 villages back, the village government would have a 3-year cycle of doing home inspections. So lighting, condition of the homes, and you'd be notified as to what the town ordinances were, or the village ordinances back when I lived in the village. And they would come around and go, you gotta be up to the current standards. Because I've been looking, some things for me, like one of the things that attracted me to the area was the dark night skies. I see there's an ordinance about you're supposed to have your exterior lights shielded. So I went and replaced mine. My wife and I got the dark sky light. So I'm like, but for the whole neighborhood, the whole Sherwood Hills area, I'm wondering if that's something that the town could consider doing. Like just having a cycle of, here's your postcard in the mail. Are you up to the current standards? And I've also been talking to the homeowners association about the old trails, the walking paths, over in the Rock Lake Homeowners Association area. I've reopened them all where I can find them on the maps. And I'm looking to see if I can get, if the town has a supply of wood chips they can donate to fill in the marshy areas. According to the homeowner association, they thought the town was supposed to maintain them. I just patrol them for like the down trees and move them out of the path, and I'll just keep taking care of it because I understand, and I heard the budget. It's like, yeah, it's kind of like when I've been involved in scouting with my son. It's like, okay, apply the shoulder and just do some work. But if the town has a supply of wood chips, they can donate. Scrap wood, I don't care what it is. I'm looking for some fill for the swampy areas. So those are the 4 things I was thinking of.
All right.
I didn't really know
We can
what.
kick the can around here a little bit without taking too much time. As far as your question about the regional police force, we have always had our own police force in the town of Lake Mills as long as I can remember, but we are also affiliated with Jefferson County. So we have that 24/7 service that the
Okay.
county provides, and should there not be an officer on, there is a way to do that. That is sort of our solution to a regional police force. We have to maintain a police force in the sense that we have surface control of Rock Lake. And so large part of our policing is not only on the highways and the byways, but it's also on the lake. And so that's kind of a special thing. As far as rural internet capability and higher speeds, you guys probably could speak to that a little more. I just happened to be watching the news tonight, and they were talking about rural internet, and it's a push-button issue in the state of Wisconsin. Many areas are more poorly served than our area because we're quite urban. Seems that the federal government and the state government have supported internet and the capability of expanding the internet with their dollars, but it doesn't seem that the companies are taking the lead to do that. I think we're going to see some legislative action. And certainly that's been an issue for the Wisconsin Towns Association, because many of the 72 counties of Wisconsin are very rural and are struggling with the same thing. As far as light pollution, I know that this has been discussed at the Joint Rock Lake Committee too. It's kind of come to a common sense thing. We've never had a cycle of home inspections. We try to do a good job with our inspections as houses are built. I don't really know the answer to that. I've never been in a township that did anything like that.
Maybe Dean would have some, or something like that.
Yeah, I had a comment made the other day. One of my constituents asked me a question about sump pumps and an ordinance to control the fact that they need to go down the drain instead of out into somebody else's yard. Here's another one of those issues that may not be covered by our current ordinances, and last month I proposed that we do a little ordinance inventory and see what we might be missing.
I saw it was that effluvia is covered in the public nuisance ordinance.
We had an issue with night sky pollution from some buildings that were built in Korth Park, and I simply picked up the phone and talked to the Parks Director, and they shielded all of those lights. We have a series of, very few, but a series of street lamps that light the rural areas around Shorewood Hills Road. I don't know exactly where the rest of them are. I'm
There's one
not
at
sure that
Shorewood
they are
Hills.
shielded, but
Well,
We-
that's for the electrical, junction is the main one, right, at the beginning of Shorewood?
Yes.
That's kind of
Yes.
required. I'm not familiar with any other ones, really.
that's certainly something to think about. Also, the question you ask about the trails, it was kind of a shock to all of us last fall when we were dealing with the beginning of the subdivision that was proposed, Shorewood Hills 3. It came to reality that the town of Lake Mills owned the detention pond that was part of the first phase of development. And also at that time, it came to be common knowledge that we also own the trail systems. I was always under the assumption that those were owned and maintained by the homeowners association. Your question about mulch, I think that we could probably make that happen. We do have always a need in our town for a great deal of brushing along the roadsides, which creates a great deal of wood chips. And I could see if some of that couldn't be redirected to some areas where you feel that it needs to be for foot traffic. I would be very careful if I were you in filling in wetland areas, because those wetland areas and kettles really handle a lot of stormwater. So maybe we can together work on that as we get to a little warmer time.
That was one of, and on that particular note, I was hoping there might be somebody from either extension, the extension services, the county extension, or the DNR, because I don't want to wreck our previous house. We actually had a glacial kettle as part of our property.
So maybe it would be good if we, every year we do a spring road tour and a fall road tour looking mainly at our roadways. Maybe it's time we did some kind of a trail inventory. I know that I met with them last December and we were discussing at that time some kind of trail markers.
Because I've been just putting up green blaze ribbons for Mace.
Great job, actually. I've walked through there and you can
Well,
actually, you can
It's
navigate it.
kind of sad that you can't use those areas, and they are there as walking trails. There has never been a big push to clean them up or use them, but I think as development occurs, they're going to become more and more important.
If the other sections of the trails leading off to phase 3, if somebody can just put the old surveyor tags up, the old 1x8s with the.
One of the inspirations that I had when I talked with the Homeowners Association last year were the trail markings that are done by a group of volunteers on the Ice Age Trail.
Friends,
And-
I've been, that's where I got my thinking from.
They were just like tree markers, you know, and they were very simple, and it kind of guided you through. The Ice Age Trail is 1,000 miles long, I think, and so there's a huge group of volunteers that do that. I think we could see to it that some of that stuff would start to happen in those trails. Was there any move on the part of the homeowners to pull together a group, or think about
Didn't
how
get
we
to
would
that
fund it?
We had a conversation after the meeting that led him to the here, so, and that, on that point, so it wasn't really discussed as a group.
No, I've talked to the homeowners association, and so I just, we bought the parcel next to our property. It's not part of the conservation zone. It's like I pulled the old farm fence out, and I thought, oh, that'll keep me busy all summer pulling that out. I had that out the first weekend we moved in.
Yeah, okay.
And so I was like, my grandfather must be channeling through me because.
Shoving you in the background, huh?
Because I work with computers, and yet I'm out in the woods clearing all this stuff out, and I'm, oh gosh, there it goes. I thought this would take me like 3 summers to do, and I finished it in 1.
Oh, good.
So, but yeah, it's just a matter of getting some proper markers up, and I think, but then, because I reopened the path up the Sunset Circle from Woodfield and the one to they call the outlot on the north end of Woodfield Lane, but then I don't exactly know. It shows on the old maps that it goes further north towards Polo and Bridle, but I don't want to start walking through someone's yard by mistake.
We did have a no parking sign on the bridle end of that at one point, but it came down in wind or snow or something, and we never got it back up. But that would at least give you an idea where it is.
A couple signs from the town would be great, because then,
Well, why don't you come together this winter with some kind of a proposal, and let's do an inspection of the trail and try to establish where it is. Maybe you can garner a few volunteers and come up with a budget. And I certainly can talk to the brushing guys that do the tree work in our neighborhoods to find us a place to make a pile of mulch that would be accessible to you. Maybe you could help me find a place to put that.
that'd be great. I
They're
was
pretty
out-
much hauling that stuff away if they're not.
Because someone also mentioned the local troop master comes to some of the board meetings.
Certainly could be a project for any kind of Scouts or Eagles or any other kind of partnership you could develop, you know?
Sounds good.
Yeah. Well, welcome, John. Welcome to the town of Lake Mills. We do things a little differently here than probably where you have come from. But we're all here as a resource to you, and we're in the same boat you are. We're just citizen public servants.
I used to go to the village meetings, a couple of villages back, and the clock would be 10:30 or whatever. And they would start meetings at 8, and I'd be like,
Well, we all have
And
cows to milk, you know?
Well, he's not here.
I always
She's not here.
figured it was because they would have subdivision folks, and they'd go, they're just gonna wear us down. The subdivision, the general contractors would be, okay, now it's time to talk about it, and I'd be like, and then my daughter would be like, wake up, it's time to get up, do something.
Well, fortunately, at this December meeting, we have finished up most of our subdivision work for this year and on to next spring. But I applaud your efforts, and I think it's a great community resource to have those trails. Let's work on it.
Okay, so I'll put together a proposal, budget-wise, I don't,
Well, if you could just find some volunteers to help and decide what kind of markers you'd like to use, you know, and get people a little more familiar with it. The history of the Rock Lake Homeowners Association is kind of all over the place.
that was something that I think did come up if they're, for any of the subdivision homeowners associations that are around in the town. You know, if the old postcard to the last known address would go out every, like, say, 3 years, presuming you're still around, if, you know, you just, because I know I've been in areas where the homeowners association, when I was living in Lisbon, you'd see traces of the old covenant. Somebody'd have like documents on the old covenants, and then we'd have like the shark fin house, and the people that threw on all kinds of strange additions, and people that would leave their fallen trees we're
I
just,
think that's been how things have been, that the laissez-faire approach to those trails was good for some people in the fact that they like their privacy and
Yep.
security. But at the same time, they're kind of a public resource.
yeah, and I was going, this was the one that came from Lisbon, same where the town, not the town, but the homeowner association seems to have withered on the vine, and there was nobody left to, you could see the traces of what had been. And when people talk about how great it was in the 70s, and
Yeah. Well, put something together this winter when it's cold and quiet, and then bring it back to us in the spring, and we'll take a look at it.
okay.
All right.
So is there a plat for the town, survey?
I think that your best resource would be to go on to the county website and look at that GIS mapping.
Okay,
That's all overlaid with aerial photographs.
It's all there, yeah. Otherwise, even the listings, Realtor.com, the listings of all of those lots that are for sale right now, most likely have that in there as advertising too.
okay, because I wanted to just go, because I have the homeowner association map for Sherwood Hills, but I have similar efforts when you started mentioning the Ice Age trails, any other trails in the town.
Oh, I don't think there's any other ones, is there?
Well, the Glacial Drumlin Trail, but,
That's DNR maintained.
DNR,
yeah. Well, do a little research work.
I will.
Winter's coming, January's coming. Thank you, John, and welcome, and if you have any other questions, just shoot them to us, you know?
I
We're
will.
in the book.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming, thank you. Seeing no one else here, we'll move on to 8, application reviews. Item A, discussion and decision on an operator's license for Martin G. Bentel, Lake Mills Travel Plaza. This is the one we acted on last
A
month.
couple months ago, they sent me an application in the mail again stating they would be here to discuss it was denied.
Yes.
That's all I know. They're not here, so
Those are in
Nothing
my
to do.
November packet. All right. We'll just skip over that and move on to discussion and decision on a request to hold a special event by the Lake Mills Main Street Program for the Knickerbocker Ice Festival on February 4th, 2017.
Yep, you just brought this in tonight. Oh yeah, okay. So it's not in your packet. It looks like
Same old,
5
same old.
a.m. to 5 p.m. Bartles Beach area / lake will be used for ice golf, ice softball, ice diving safety, sorry. Rock Lake in general will be used for ice fishing. Snowmobiles will be out for support. Names and addresses and phone numbers of the people who are running each of those events.
Good. I would make a motion to approve the request to hold a special event in the name of the Knickerbocker Ice Festival by the Lake Mills Main Street Program on February 4th.
I will second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of approving the special event, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and all opposed, the same sign. C, discussion and decision on a request to hold a special event by the Watertown Archers for a fishing tournament
Got
on the
nothing
same
from
date. And they have not replied. They got one more month, I called him.
Okay.
So we'll just blow that one by 2. Item number 9, old business, update on culverts and brushing. You guys see the invoice there from Valia?
Yep.
I think that's how you say it. So we got those 2 culverts replaced. I got 3 piles of paperwork here, that's not good. We got the 2 culverts replaced on Newville Road. I wanted also to remind you that I had that meeting with the DOT. They are gonna redo those 2 bridges, the one on, Newville Road and the one on Rock Lake Road in the year 2019, and that road is gonna be significantly lower, I think, what did I say, 2 inches lower. It's not so bad. But as we go forward, we have to take that into consideration for what we do on Newville. And so the invoice total on those two culverts came to $12,625. And we did not repave that area, we just have 6 inches of recycled asphalt on top of it. And I'm gonna be taking the inventory on
Some
that.
spots have 6, some spots have 3,
Do you know that?
I would guess.
Okay,
There's some holes.
all right, gotta go out there and do some maintenance, so you and me stay on top of it since you travel every day. And brushing, I just met yesterday with Cresan, and there are like 7 or 8 trees that they bid on, and we looked at some other brushing, and then there was some snow damage, and so I gave him a list, and he's going to be working on Shorewood Hills Road and Upper Shorewood Hills Road in the next couple of weeks.
Do have an updated highway budget for you if you want.
Oh, good. And so what should we do? Pay the bill for the
Well,
snow removal in December. Because we're gonna have one, right?
well, he didn't submit one, he usually doesn't until January.
Right.
So this is it. What you see here is everything that will hit our 2016 budget. We're going to be taking plenty over to next year again. But we've got, we start paying on our loan next year, so we'll use some of it with that.
And we have approximately $20,000 in the county highway aid fund, okay?
Yes, we do.
Wow. Anything you guys want to know about culverts and brushing? Moving on to item B, an update on the drainage board dispute that we've had with, I don't know how to update that.
I don't know either.
I see Attorney Levington sent something tonight.
Oh, yeah,
On
I
it.
have that, I think. What do I?
Oh,
Did I print
he
that
did.
out?
He said he was going to, but I didn't have
Oh, wait,
time to
was
look
that-
at it.
Drainage or was that body lane?
It was Bay Lane and the drainage.
Everything piled into one.
Sent that out.
All I've got is the body lane one.
We got some legal issues.
Yeah, all of a sudden,
Sent at 6:02 tonight.
Okay,
oh, I can look it up here quick. You got it?
well, as long as we don't have anything else on our agenda, let's take the time to look at it. Just to update the public, we have a drainage dispute on the Koshkonong Creek under the Britsky Road Bridge that we've been discussing with the drainage board for quite a while.
Looks like the internet is not connected to my computer. It probably needs to be rebooted. Sorry, I can't pull it up.
Okay, there's nothing we can do about it tonight. Our attorney, Lee Leverton, is handling that, and you also have in your packet another litigation that's been begun.
I did give our attorney the minutes to that meeting that we looked up last month. That
So he
said
should have all that.
that we had not agreed to.
Yeah,
do
he
anything.
references that here. So,
Okay.
I mean, I could go read this if you want, but
Let's just put it on to next
Yeah,
month,
next-
since
okay.
we're a short crew anyway.
Do we have to have them come back and talk to us again or something, or?
Let's wait and see what happens.
Okay,
so on the really short end of it, I mean, they have 6 months to file
To file their suit.
the suit if we deny the claim.
By that time,
So
maybe we
we-
can warm up and we can go down there.
So they can, yeah, or we can remove the rocks ourselves. Or they can remove them and then levy us, so.
Okay,
Town, so.
all right.
I don't see how this one's gonna get resolved.
I think it's in the lawyer's hands.
Yes, I think that's where it's at. Let's wait and put that on our agenda for next month when we got a full crew here. Item 10, new business. A, board expense sheet approval. Anybody got any
I didn't
expenses?
have time to put it together, so next month.
Next month.
It's a theme tonight.
Item 11, correspondence.
All right, that I have some of. So, I think this is just a follow-up, but I just thought I would mention it. So, the Shorewood Hills North Phase 3 The Department of Administration sent a note just stating that it's their understanding that the wastewater treatment is all public and not private, and that if we disagree with that, we should contact them, but we don't. So just letting you know that they're looking at that, reviewing it, I guess.
Sure.
And that was a month ago, so it just came after we met. Another letter from the city of Lake Mills about the Highway 89 project, letting us know that there are some right-of-way and easement issues that are going to be looked at property by property, and they'll notify us if they need to, but they're just keeping us in the loop of what's going on. That's where they are with that project.
Do they
at this
mention a
point.
date?
This letter went to every property owner on this entire stretch. So, I mean, even, downtown all the way out here.
Yep. No
No,
dates.
it does not say a
Okay.
date. It's just keeping us informed
All right.
and giving us names and numbers of people to call if we have questions. Some continuing education on highway safety, some different dates around the state if you're interested in going to any of those workshops. Also, a workshop on assessing and addressing local service needs. The one in December is a teleconference. There's one coming up in January as well. There's a lot of different topics. This one is learn how demographic trends will shape demand for non-essential community services. If you're interested in that.
Anything to do with internet?
I did not see internet in that one, no, but I can keep my eyes peeled for it.
Okay.
Okay. A couple more ordinance violations. I brought some of those to you last time that are on the lake. And also got a response to one of them from one of the recipients. It was just, we were just CC'd on a letter that they sent back to the Jefferson County zoning people. So here again, I don't know if you need this to be in the minutes, but just keeping you up to date on that.
Okay.
Okay. That constituent you mentioned earlier, asking about the sump pumps, sent me an email as well to get it, so it's in the record. But did she also mention to you, she had watched the meeting in November and heard about the ordinance reviews and wondered about some system for the sewage of the new subdivision not going down Shorewood Hills Road?
Yeah, I
which I
replied
think
to
would
her.
be a city issue, but
I
don't know.
replied to her.
You did, okay.
That sewer line travels down County Highway B. It does not go down
Okay.
Shorewood Hills Road. But at the same time, we're all in this same sewage boat together, you know. We depend on the city to treat our sanitary sewer effluent, and they are installing and inspecting the system that will now serve Shorewood Hills 3, and so we are, of course, vigilant of what gets done, but they are the inspecting and treating. So yes, I took that suggestion, and hopefully Matt Miller and I, our police chief, will work in January with a consultant to review just our police part of our ordinances and begin to work on the ordinances that we feel need to be updated, like abandoned vehicles, working on ice driving, working on a pier ordinance right now, and also I think that we are in bankruptcy as far as a theft ordinance goes. And so some of those things I think are the first things that we need to tackle. I guess what I'd like to do is meet with him and show him our ordinance book and then go from there and see what he suggests we do. So that's on my January to-do list.
Okay.
Anything else in correspondence?
No.
Item 12, meeting scheduled. Bingo, right off the bat at first of the year. The Joint Rock Lake Committee meets at 6 on the 3rd. The Planning Commission meets at 8 on the 3rd. And also on the 3rd is the deadline to submit campaign registration statements, nomination papers, and declarations of candidacy to our clerk, Sarah, at 5 o'clock on the 3rd. If you have any interest in running for a town board seat or office, you will need to complete that paperwork, which she can get to you online. January 10th at 8 p.m. is our next regular town board meeting. And it will be 55 degrees that evening.
You never know.
Take this moment to wish everyone happy holidays in the town of Lake Mills, to be safe and to be careful on the icy and slippery roads. If you have any comments you would like to make about snow plowing or sanding or salting, those can be directed to myself or to the clerk. Our clerk, Sarah, is the point woman who then goes to our snowplow provider. So if you have any comments that you would like to make, you can do that either on the internet or by telephone to any one of us, and we will record those complaints. Or positive reinforcement for a job well done. So, happy holidays. I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second it. The meeting is adjourned.